Coffee time. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be writing a rock sound. So I've got my guitar with me. It's been plugged into the Ingo Fireball amplifier, and it's going straight into the 2 Notes Torpedo Live, which I've got an impulse response on, and that is going into my computer then. So this is the sound we're getting. I'm not using a tube screamer at the moment, just straight into the amp. So what I've done is I've made a drum track in Easy Drummer, and I'll show you how to go about doing that now. It doesn't have to be the final one, it's just something good to start on. Anyhow, I'll show you how that's done. Now I'm using Reaper, which is entirely free to download and to try out for as long as you like, so everybody can do more or less what I'm doing. You will need a copy of Easy Drummer to be able to follow along with this, but once you have that, you should be okay. You can use other MIDI drum programs, but it might take a little bit more time to program the drums. Anyhow, what I'm doing right now is I've got a copy of Easy Drummer loaded up, so I went into my effects here, and you just go add. A second now. I was using Abbey Road, so you go to add, and you go to Easy Drummer, and you click OK, and that'll bring up your copy of Easy Drummer. Now I'm just using the stock drum kit that comes with Easy Drummer, so it doesn't have to be too exotic. We can just use the basic one, and it sounds pretty much like that. So anyhow, sounds pretty good to me. What you do is you go into the browser, which is here, and you look through a couple of different drum beats. Now before I've done this, of course, I've set the tempo that I've wanted, which is 130 beats per minute, and the time signature that I wanted, which is in 4/4. And then you go into your browser and you look through different drum beats. And I like that one. That's got a very strong punch to it. So what I've done is you go down to the song creator down the bottom, you click that, and it's got this thing called MIDI drop zone right here. And you grab your drum beat that you like and you drop it into the MIDI drop zone. And what it does is it finds other drum beats that will go well with this. So you'll have different intros. Different verses, different pre-choruses, etc. You get the idea. But for right now, I'm not concerned about that, because right now all this is really is a fancy metronome to me, because I'm mostly concerned with writing the guitar parts. So we can get to the programming of MIDI drums another time, or you can even just use whatever you've brought up here. But for right now, you can scroll down on song structures to the left hand side, and you see different types of song structures, and you can audition them by hitting the play button. And from there you just find a song structure that you like. In this case I've chosen ABC long, right? And I've gotten that and just dragged it and dropped it into my DAW, giving me a full length song ready made. Now here's what I've made earlier that I've already put onto my timeline. Now, this probably isn't the drum sound you're going to end up with. You just have to keep this in mind, that this is a glorified metronome, right? With all the different parts already put in. So you already have your verse parts, your chorus parts, and all the rest of that, and an idea of when to change over because the drums change. So that is going to help your songwriting immensely. It's going to really help you get through things faster and not have to worry about the drums. It's something you can always come back to later and change things around and chop up the guitars and the bass and whatever else and fit them wherever you want them. But for right now, you just want a drum beat that you can follow and something you can try different guitar ideas off of and see how that works. So we have about 3 minutes and 54 seconds or so of a drum beat ready made. So that's going to give us a good starting point to record our guitars from. So let's take a listen to it. So we've got an intro, a verse, a pre-chorus, a chorus, a verse. So it's already done all the arrangements for us. It's already figured out, okay, this goes like this. And then you just fit guitar parts to that. Now you're not stuck to that. You can always change it later. But for right now, just get ideas down. This is what you want. So we got about 4 minutes or so of a pre-made drum track from just doing that. So it's going to take care of a lot of the work that you would otherwise have to do. Let's take away my head for a second so you can see what's happening. Okay, my guitar is coming in here, so I'm just going to turn my amp off standby. So it's going in there. Now typically for a rock track, you'll track it once for the left and once for the right. But in this case, we just want to track it one time because we don't want to be getting too bogged down by tracking it twice and kind of losing where we're at. So a good trick if you want bigger sounding guitars just whilst you're working is to make a second reverb track and then have the reverb of the left guitar on the right hand side, if that makes sense. So I'm going to show you how I'm doing that right now and what it sounds like. Okay, so this is the guitar track by itself. With the drums. It sounds a little bit dull and boring. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a reverb track and we're going to send the guitar to the separate reverb track. Here's the trick. You create another track and you go into your effects. Now I'm going to use the stock plugins that come with Reaper just to demonstrate this idea. We're looking for a verb, so B or B. I can go to Caucus and reverb. So hit OK on that. And what we're going to do is we're going to send the route here and we're going to drag this down to the route there. So that's sending the guitar track that we're on down to the track below it into that, right? And see where it says post fader, post pan? You want this to be pre-fader, post effects. Once that's done, click on this section here where it says no preset. And we're just going to go to Sweet Verbo, which is like a default reverb. And we're going to play it. It's not going to sound great, but we're going to play it anyway. Now that's overpowering. It's too much. But we're going to mix this a little bit to get it to where we want it. So let's take the echo generator off and turn the wet down a bit. And we're going to play it again. And we're going to slowly wind up the wet control. That seems about right to me. Now, once we have it this way, we want to pan our main guitar to the left. So you grab the pan control up here, and you scroll that to the left. And you grab your reverb, your new reverb track, and you bring it to the right. When you play this back now, you're going to have a wider sounding guitar. The guitar to the left is going to be pretty much dry, and the guitar to the right is going to be affected. So let's take a listen to how that sounds. Now that reverb is a little bit long for my taste, so we're going to change the length of it. So if you see where my arrow is on the screen, you click on the reverb generator. And what I want you to do is take the room size, which is pretty much up to the maximum, and bring that down a bit. Now you can mess with the blend control to see where it sounds good. And the room size to see if you want more or less of it, but I think around halfway is a good point. Now the next thing to do is to bus these two. So you're going to make another channel and you're going to put it on top of those two there. You're going to double click on the naming thing. You're going to type guitar bus or GTR bus. Click on the channel you want, hold down shift, click on the other channel you want. Grab the two of them and just drag them up so they become, so this blue line here gets small like that. And when it does that, now you've got one fader that controls both of those guitar channels. Now that should get you a good enough guitar sound to start with, so it won't be annoying to listen to. After that, you might want to double track or quadruple track your guitars. But just whilst you're songwriting, you don't want to get bogged down by mixing. You want to do some songwriting. So already we have a full drum track and a guitar sound that will work. From here, it's just a matter of recording guitars and seeing what we like. I kind of like that intro section I've recorded already, so I'm going to leave that alone. But I'm going to make another guitar track here for the next parts I'm going to be recording. Later on, of course, you can double track or quad track or multi-track the guitars, but for right now, all you want is a guitar sound that sounds cool and something that won't bother you whilst you're working with it. A little bit of reverb on one side and the guitar track on the other will get you that big guitar sound to start with, so that'll actually help you not worry too much about your mixing and just concentrate on making a song. Anyhow, okay, we have an intro, which is... I kind of like that part, but I'm not such a big fan of the rhythm that happens afterwards. So I'm just going to take off all the fluff right now, which means you just grab it at the edge, drag it back, grab this guitar part that we're not going to be using, and drag that out. Now we've got the intro by itself. And I've got another guitar track down here ready to go. So this will be our verse guitar. So let's do that now. Okay, so that's our verse. So what we do is we grab this guy here and trim off the fat. And just drop that in after your intro. Now here's a cool trick. What we're going to do is we're going to find wherever else there's a verse in the song, and we're going to copy that part over to the next verse. Right now we're just focusing on making the song happen and getting from start to finish and figuring out all the parts. And we have a verse right there, so what we're going to do is copy and paste that every other time there's a verse. Now obviously you're going to be retracking it and you're going to be tweaking and editing and worry about the tracking process more later. So right now we're just trying to get a song done. Let's take the verse and copy it up every other time there's a verse. Now if you look on the screen, if I enlarge this for you a second, you'll see that this part here is the verse. And you'll see that it's very clear what part that verse is. Now you see this other part here where it's the same. You'll see more or less the same MIDI pattern. I'll mute the guitar for a second. And here. So we know that that's where the verse is. So the idea now is you hold down Control, you click on your guitar part, which is the verse, and you drag it across, and it'll make a copy of that same verse everywhere you drag it. So we'll see if there's any other places with verses in them. Nope, that seems to be the only two places in the MIDI with verses in them. What we're going to do is there's a pre-chorus here and a chorus here is what it looks like. There's another pre-chorus and chorus here, and then there's a bridge here and an outro here, so we can see that in the MIDI. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make a pre-chorus and then a chorus, and we can copy them over here and over here. Then we're going to have to come up with something else for the bridge. And the end of it there, I'd imagine, is just the chorus repeating itself. So we can do a double chorus there or something. Now this is not your final version of the song, but it is a song start to finish. And later on you can work on all the tweaking. So we're going to get through this right now, okay? Anyhow, onwards. So we've done our verse. And now we need a pre-chorus. So let's check that out. Okay, so let's try a couple of guitar ideas out. I like that. Simple, but it works. Let's just throw that in there and see how we get on. Okay, so next thing we do, as before, we trim off the fat. So this doesn't need to be there. And this part here doesn't need to be there. So we just move this part up here, and drop it in with the rest, and let's see how it sounds. That sounds pretty good. So what we're going to do now is the same thing we did before. That's a pre-chorus. Every other time we see a pre-chorus, copy it across. Okay, so that's the next thing. So grab this here, hold down Control, click on it, and drag it across to every other time you see a pre-chorus. So there's a pre-chorus here, there's a pre-chorus here. So there's only 2 instances of pre-chorus in this song. So now we fill up more of the songs. So what we're going to need now is a chorus. This is our drum beat. So what we can do is click, hold it down and drag across for the length of that drum beat. And click on this loop or repeat tool here, just make sure that's turned on. And it'll loop itself a few times so we can try out different guitar ideas with the drum beat. So okay, I've got an idea that I like now, so let's try putting it in there. Just turning off the loop feature down here. So we can play this and hitting record. Okay, now that we've got that part done, we have our intro, our verse, our pre-chorus, and our chorus. And that's most of the song. So let's just do a little bit of editing, put that in there and see how it all sounds together. Now, whilst you're looking at the screen, same thing as before, you trim off the fat, you go to the left-hand side of the thing you just recorded, and you click on it, and you drag it over, and you do the same thing with the right-hand side there. You'll see this little thing pop up, looks like an arrow, left and right arrow. When you go right to the edge, that's what you're looking for, and just drag that in. And just pop that up there with the other stuff. Now, every other time there's a chorus, you get where this is going, right? Hold down Control, click on the part you just recorded, and drag it across to all the other choruses. Now at the end there's a double chorus. So give me a second now. So what we do is we drag 2 copies of that there. And there is an ending part. We're not going to worry too much about that right now. The next part, of course, is the bridge. And for the bridge, you want it to be a little bit different. Maybe a different key, maybe a different chord structure, maybe just something a little bit different than that. So we're going to try looping up the section for the bridge. So grab, select all that there. Hit your loop or repeat tool. And just try out some ideas to see what fits there. Right now, we're not exactly worried about how perfect it is, or double tracking, or all the rest of that stuff. We just want a basic idea of a song from start to finish that we can go back and edit and change things later. You with me? Alright, now to record the bridge section. Now that will do for our bridge section. That'll do nicely. Same things before, we're going to tidy it up a little bit. We're going to take off the start and end there, just by grabbing the edge and dragging it back. And doing the same thing on the end there, and just dropping that in where it's supposed to go. Okay. And that's a little bit louder, so we can just move our arrow up to the top here, and you see an up-down arrow. click on that and just drag it down a touch. Seems about right. Now from that, you'll notice that we have a full song. If you want to spend time editing drums and quad tracking or double tracking guitars, that's up to yourself. But this right now will work as a perfectly acceptable song as long as you put bass and lyrics to it. It could be an instrumental, you could put lead guitar to it or piano, whatever you want. But this is a good base point to start from, and once you have that, you can build a track on it. Imagine it like a foundation. Without a good foundation, you can't build a good house. And unless you've got a track done from start to finish, you're never going to get anything complete because you don't have a template to work from. What I've done now, and what you've done, hopefully if you're following this, is created a template track that you can change and edit and fix later, and you've got something that you can work on. Now all this took less than about an hour to put together, and hopefully I've kept it straightforward enough that you guys can follow along. So let's take a listen to what we've got here. Okay, we're not getting too long and too long-winded. That's pretty much a full template worked out and something you can do yourself. Anyhow, I hope that works for you. Give it a try, see what you think, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.